I am here live on Facebook. Gonna be coming over from YouTube where they are not letting me go live for some reason. And trying to get everybody the link so that they can don't play. Alright. I am here live on Facebook. Gonna be coming over from YouTube where they are not letting me go. Okay. That's extremely irritating. I'm not really sure what is going on with YouTube, but when I try to go live, it's like trying to force me through the OBS system application to go live. It's really irritating. So, I'm going to take a second. Okay. Omni matter ergo logos inanna naki aika. Omni matter ergo logos inanna naki aika. Omni matter ergo logos inanna naki ahika. Please help us have a good day. Help us get to the golden age. Show us the path that we need to take to get there, and give us the strength that we need to walk the path. I'm really happy that Facebook Live is working at least. Hey Naz, hey Aaron, I'm glad that you guys could be here. I'm really excited to be here today in this beautiful weather. I brought my Gospel of the Holy 12 with me, and I actually wanted to read a part of it, this lection 41 that I had mentioned before. And Jesus was going to Jericho, and there met him a man with a cage full of birds, which he had caught, and some young doves. And he saw how they were in misery, having lost their liberty, and moreover being tormented with hunger and thirst. And he said unto the man, What doest thou with these? And the man answered, I go to make my living by selling these birds which I have taken. And Jesus said, What thinkest thou, if another, stronger than thou, or with greater craft, were to catch thee, and bind thee, or thy wife, or thy children, and cast thee into a prison, in order to sell thee into captivity for his own profit, and to make a living? Are these not thy fellow creatures, only weaker than thou? And dost not the same God, our Father, Mother, care for them as for thee? Let these thy little brethren and sisters go forth into freedom, and see that thou doest this thing no more, but provide honestly for thy living. And the man marveled at these words, and at his authority, and he let the birds go free. So when the birds came forth, they flew unto Jesus, and stood on his shoulder, and sang unto him. And the man inquired further of his doctrine, and he went away, and learned the craft of making baskets. And by this craft he earned his bread, and afterwards he brake his cages and his traps, and became a disciple of Jesus. I don't know about you, but that makes me really excited. Sorry, I was trying to read the chat. It's actually not News Spot. I'm just on the other table here, outside of the library. The whole premise of what I just read, the whole idea of something that's more intelligent than you, more crafty than you, coming along and putting you in that same situation. Look at the world that we live in today, right? Us humans have been deceived to thinking that we are on the top of the food chain, that we are the most intelligent species on Earth. And in reality, once we start to awaken, we realize how deceived we are about where we are, what we are, and why we are here. And that's just the tip of the iceberg as far as deception goes. It becomes very obvious that humans aren't that smart, and our adversary is not a human, much smarter than us. This is the Gospel of the Holy 12, Aaron. This is the scroll that changed my life, the reason that I went vegan. So I really hold this dear, even though I don't blindly follow any scrolls. Even this scroll, I could debate with you over some of the things that are written in it, but as far as, a gospel goes, this is the one that changed my life. There's some really, really awesome stories in here. Another one that I actually wanted to mention was talking about the washing of hands and the eating of unclean meats in the Bible. Part of this is mentioned, the whole, it's not what goes in that defiles a man, but what comes out. But this gospel gives it a little bit more context, which is kind of interesting, so I wanted to read that. And there came unto him certain of the scribes and Pharisees who had seen one of his disciples that had eaten with unwashed hands. And they found fault, for the Jews eat not, except they have first washen their hands, and many other things observe they, in the washing of cups and vessels and tables. So they have all of these man-made, rituals that they go through before they eat. Washing the plates, washing your hands, all of these things that are man-made rituals. And they said, why walk not all thy disciples after the traditions of the elders? For we saw one who did not eat with washed hands. And Jesus said, well, hath Moses commanded you to be clean, and to keep your bodies clean, and your vessels clean? But ye have added things which ofttimes cannot be observed by everyone at all times and in all places. Hearken unto me therefore, not only unclean things entering into the body of a man defile the man, but much more do evil thoughts and unclean, which pour from the heart of man, defile the inner man, and defile others also. Therefore take heed to your thoughts, and cleanse your hearts, and let your food be pure. These things ought ye to do, and not to leave the others undone. So, as you can see, he says it's both what you put in and what comes out that defiles you, which should be common sense. If you're eating poisons, if you're consuming corpses, you're not purifying your temple, you are corrupting it. So obviously what you put in matters, and what comes out matters as well. So that is always what I fight back with, that reference to a lot of the Bible. It's been mistranslated for a very long time. Jeremiah 8:8 talks about lying scribes and how they made the Torah in vain, and that was all the way back in Jeremiah's time, right? How much worse is it now? And when you look through the Bible, even just the New Testament, how many books are the actual apostles that supposedly walked with Christ, and how much of it is Apostle Paul, who is a whole other story, came along and in his writings, says that we're saved by his gospel. A lot of interesting things. I actually brought some pages of notes that I have taken throughout my awakening experience, and just various subjects here. But one of them is regarding Paul, and I wanted to leave this. Let's actually get Yeshua versus Paul from the Nazarene teachings so that you can look through this. I've mentioned it before, talking about how some of the teachings that Paul mentioned, some of the things that Paul preached were not in line with some of the stuff that the Christ preached. One of the main things, the Christ, if you look through his own, even in the Bible, but extra biblical scripts, texts that show the Christ having female disciples, having a special relationship with Mary Magdalene, whereas Paul was, don't let women speak in church, and that gets me really fired up. So we won't really go into all that, but some other things, like I was saying, he says that we're saved by his gospel. In Romans 2:16, it's according to my gospel. In Romans 16:25, it's according to my gospel, not the gospel of Christ. Even before that, in Acts, it talks about his conversion experience. In Acts 9, near Damascus, this light shines around him. He falls on the earth, and then the men traveling with him were speechless, and they heard but did not see. Okay, so they heard and did not see. And then later in Acts 22, those traveling with him saw but did not hear. Right? So they can't even get their story straight on this conversion thing. This whole idea of getting direct revelation right from God. There's a lot of, I think it's Ellen White and someone else, I can't really remember, but they have their own religious sects based off of this whole, God showed up to me and gave me this divine message, and now you need to follow me. It's my gospel that you're saved by. So Paul is not the only one that has done that. he also, says, I fathered you. And in Matthew, the Christ says not to call anybody your father. And there's just some really interesting contradictions just in the biblical text, versus the biblical text, and also, Paul versus the Christ and all of this kind of stuff. So it's also interesting that during the Christ's life, all of these disciples were actually traveling with him and getting to see how he would interact with people from outside of the faith and inside the faith, and see the kind of difference, how he would treat outsiders, right? And the very same apostles that walked with him his whole ministry and actually saw that interaction, apparently aren't the ones that were sent to the Gentiles. Paul comes along and supposedly he is sent to the Gentiles, this unlearned person who never even walked with the Christ, never met him. It's just really interesting that, one of the Christ's actual apostles wouldn't have been the one to go and be the one to spread the gospel to all of the Gentiles. But, yeah. Anyways, that is some about Paul. Another thing just to mention is that in Philippians 3:5, Paul does claim to be of the tribe of Benjamin, and in Genesis 49:27, it mentions that that Benjamin is the ravenous wolf that comes along and eats the prey. So it's really interesting. I would definitely encourage everybody to look into some of these teachings and how Paul's message differs with the Christ. The Vedas teach to be vegan as well. Woohoo! I haven't personally read through a lot of them, but they are, all these ancient scriptures that are really interesting, teaching us to be vegan, not just in the Gospel of the Holy 12 in the Vedas, but so many of the ancient teachings, ancient cultures, knowing all of this spiritual information, knowing how, just the chakras in general, how they are functioning, and how consuming animal products can actually shut down their functioning and cause some serious issues in the body. I know that a lot of people hear chakras and label it New Age, and so much of these I was reading the chat. So much of these things that this ancient secret wisdom that's been hidden from us is labeled as New Age, and we're taught to demonize it and stay far away from it. But it's a psyop to get us to stay spiritually ignorant, to stay in darkness, to stay under the leadership of, the TV pastors or any famous pastor that you want. Post their picture in the Transvestigation Disclosure Now group, and we will tear them apart, because none of them will stand up to investigation. They are all put in there. Even truthers, the most popular truthers, Bible teachers, or any spiritualists that are the most popular on YouTube, on Facebook, on any platform, if they're teaching you the truth, it really doesn't matter if they're inverted, because inverts will tell you as much truth as they need to tell you to get you to trust them, to get you to follow them, so that you can be under their control. And that is ultimately what it is about. There's a whole network of gatekeeping inverted shills just specifically for us truthers, for the awakening process, right? For us coming into flat earth and all of the investigations of these inverted celebs and all this stuff. There's a whole network that is designed to keep us under their control. So definitely watch out for that. Lots of pastors, people on YouTube even that aren't promoted, that are not to be trusted. So just really investigate them and keep your discernment about you. Hey Shonen, how's it going? I am doing great, and I have some water in the car, but I'm kind of taking it easy today, getting ready to dry fast tomorrow. Hopefully some of you are planning on dry fasting with me, starting at 8 a.m. tomorrow morning. I almost said p.m. PST. 8 a.m. PST. And we'll do a 24-hour dry fast. If you can't make it that long, it's totally understandable. Don't beat yourself up. I think the first time that I tried, I made it like maybe 21 hours, and then I had an emotional breakdown, and I ended up caving. It's not easy. So be really patient with yourself, and every week you can try to do just at least 1 hour longer. And if you're not ready for dry fasting yet, you can always do a wet fast with just water, 0 calories. You could even do juice fasting, where you juice pure vegetables and fruits, and it will have calories in it, but there's different steps that you can take to purify yourself, and dry fasting is just going to get you there the fastest, okay? But juicing, even raw veganism is a step in the right direction. So wherever you are this Monday, I really hope that you will take a baby step in the right direction, or take a giant step wherever you are, and just push yourself to become the best version of yourself possible. When you're dry fasting, you're going to want to, keep yourself occupied. I found that grounding really helps, but like listening to music, playing games, playing chess, reading books, doing something to keep yourself mentally busy so that you can actually, fight off the temptations. Because if you start to get bored, the demons are going to come in and really just try to get you off of this path. And I mean, even when you're not bored, it's going to happen, because you're taking a step to purification, and the dark entities that are all around us don't want us to do that. So it's going to be a battle, but we are here together. If you haven't joined my new group, the Dry Fasting Community, please do, so that you can be encouraged, and we can have a community of people that we can support each other and really push ourselves down this path of purification. That makes me really excited, talking about purifying. Woohoo! Hey Jesse, how's it going? Majority of them are gatekeepers, I've found too. Seek within the soul is the only guide we need. Absolutely. You have all of the answers that you need inside. We are all connected to our true selves, our higher selves, and ultimately our Creator. And, seek and ye shall find. Knock and the door will be opened for you. The knowledge, wisdom, these spiritual mysteries that we are all seeking are attainable, and plus we've been through this all before, so it's really just a matter of remembering the things that we already know, and reconnecting with our true selves. As you know, fluoride definitely cuts you off, so if you haven't cut off the fluoride, they try to put it in everything, your toothpaste, your water, even processed foods. They'll cook them with the fluoridated water, so you really got to be careful. It's really hard to get away from fluoride. But yeah, during the golden age, we won't have this issue of the government fluoridating the water and trying to dumb down humanity. Aaron says, I will try it next time I intermittent fast every day. Wow, that is really impressive. I have a juicer, maybe a good start. Absolutely. The juice that my detox juice, if you will, is carrots, usually like 9 carrots. I do oranges and apples and as much ginger as I can handle. It gets really spicy, and lime or lemon. So it's like a citrus with lime or lemon, and an orange or apple or something to help sweeten it. And it's making me really thirsty for one of these. All right. Okay. Hey Larry, how's it going? The programming is heading in the worst way, and people are actually feeling in their hearts. But after all, mind is heavily powerful. Absolutely. It is really nice that people are actually starting to wake up, even people that aren't truthers. My own family, for instance, they're all anti-vax for this new one, at least. My mom is a nurse practitioner, so she's not fundamentally anti-jab. It's just with this one, she is anti it, so that makes me really happy. It's exciting to see so many people awaken and get to connect with people on social media here. So thank you all for being here and, questioning your indoctrination. Aaron says, it makes me sad when I try to tell Christians this. They keep seeking the external Jesus. It's themselves who they should be seeking. Absolutely. The great thing is, like, for me about the Gospel of the Holy 12, like, my religious beliefs don't require the Christ to have actually existed. I'm not saying either way, but, you'll come across people that say, oh, there's historically no evidence for this, or there is. It's like, either way, I don't care. Like, my beliefs don't rely on him actually having existed, as opposed to Christians who he had to have physically, historically existed and died on the cross for your sin, for your belief system to be right, to be true. As far as this goes, he changed my life, and it's like, I don't need him to have existed either way. And like I said, I'm not saying either way. I personally think, like, the Christ, the female and male Christos and the sun, these three entities reincarnating over and over again at different times in history, and having the story repeat itself. The magic of the Trinity, this father, mother, child, beautiful bond that gets me really excited because I really want to be a mom someday. So anyways. Sheridan says, I used to perform heavy metal detox, only fruits and juice, but that was back in India. And here in Paris, it's horrible. Worse food, water has chloride and fluoride, plus the chemtrails every day. Wow. And their media and education is horrifying. I can't even imagine being in other countries, like, especially countries where they can't have guns to protect themselves. Ultimately, you know, the whole idea of this whole Second Amendment thing is to protect ourselves from the government, and I'm very pro-gun so that we can do that. It's really sad that places other than here don't really have that, and what are they going to do when things continue to get worse towards the New World Order? They're just going to continue to be pushed around, and it's really sad. Government is heavily pushing their agenda and always has been since the beginning. Absolutely. All of the world's governments are working together, obviously. How else would they shut down the whole world for this pandemic? If you haven't looked into, you know, the UN and Event 301, this whole pre-planning of COVID and the things that follow, how everybody comes together and makes it through. They've already tried to do these Event 301 demonstrations where they have everybody sit down and kind of come together as one. And this is the New World Order coming together as we sit here and watch it. So, yeah. And I recently just posted about the government. A lot of people are saying, you know, why would the government do this to their own? It's like, they're not humans, so they're not doing it to their own. We are their cattle that is being farmed. We are not on the same level as them. They see us as their food. Just like so many humans see cattle and pig and all of these animals. It's just they're here for your entertainment, your clothing, your food, whatever. That's how they see us, and that's what's happening. They are getting ready to cull the herd. The Georgia Guidestones literally has the depopulation agenda written in stone in multiple languages. Like, for people that are still asleep right now, I don't get how they are still asleep, because it's so obvious, and it's becoming more and more obvious as we go. It's kind of the powers that be, ultimately Satan, over time. You know, he can't just, if you think about how the whole concept of history and how humans being created in this perfect state, the Garden of Eden type thing, and then, you know, coming out of the Garden of Eden and being tempted, and like, you can't just have, you know, the two souls that just came out of the Garden of Eden and then send in an invert and then convert them to invert pride. Like, it has to be a slow drip over time where you corrupt humanity through the programming and everything, and that's what we see today, right? How many parents have been convinced through the programming, like, if your child is going down this confusion path, gender confusion, sexuality confusion, if you're a good parent, you're gonna support them and, you know, promote whatever the heck they're going down. It's like, how did we get to this? Because, I mean, I'm not a parent yet, but I know in my soul knows at a core level that a good parent is going to do what is right for their child and promote a lifestyle that will build their child up, that will ultimately make their child happy, not a lifestyle in which your child's going to be in the group with the highest suicide rate, and have a chance that you're sitting at a table one day and your son walks in the door with fake boobs and a newly created manhole because he was convinced to go down this corrupt, degenerate pathway, and you sat there and you encouraged him. I'm not sure what's going on here, but maybe you have some fans in the crowd. Okay. Good parenting isn't just going along with whatever. And to get us to this point, it had to be a slow drip, drip, drip corruption over time. That was my point. All right. People clapping back there threw me off a little bit. I used to do cucumber, carrots, leafy greens, and celery. I've never tried juiced cucumber before, but I really like cucumber, so I choose ginger way too much. Yeah, the ginger can be extremely spicy and make the drink really unpleasant. But that burning, sensation that's going through your body is actually helping to burn out the impurities. When you do dry fasting, you're going to notice, after so many hours, your body temperature is actually going to start to raise, and your internal system is starting to burn out the impurities and all of the garbage that you've been putting into your body for your whole life. So, love the burn, guys. Thanks to you for your truth and knowledge. It's so beautiful to have women like you. Hopefully many girls watch this and follow up with the right path. I definitely hope so too. Good point. I call it the Lord of Spirits, Yeshua, Jesus, Krishna, etc. I appreciate all and tolerate and tolerant to all versions as a philosopher. Yeah. We're all just looking for the truth, and it's interesting to see how the truth has been, compartmentalized in so many different religions, and how everybody has like a little tiny piece of the puzzle, and how we've been programmed to see, all these other religions as wrong, and so many people won't even look into them at all to see what truths there are in them, and to find the common ground that we can actually meet on in truth. No matter where we're at, where we're all standing with our various religious beliefs and everything, it's like there is a truth, and when we can all put down our own personal beliefs and come to that place of truth, that's when we find real unity, and that is really exciting. And that is what I hope for the future. We're moving out of this whole age of faith and belief and moving into this time of knowing. We know for sure, right? We don't have to go off of faith. We know for sure that the earth is not a giant spinning ball. We know for sure that we were created, and we know for sure that we have a purpose to being here. And that's just some of the things that we know for sure, and it's really exciting to be able to have that wisdom and not die ignorant like so many of us have before. These books are manipulated to have a controlled opposition, to give us a hope, a distraction with some set of disinformation. Absolutely. Yeah. The instructor saved us, yet Christians are afraid of the serpent of wisdom. Yeah. Sophia is spoken about in the Bible, in Proverbs. My stuff's like getting ready to fly away over here. All right. In the Proverbs 8 talks about how she was with Yah before he created the earth, and how she was actually, his daily delight. But then we see the feminine divine being demonized. So it's really, really interesting to see all of these truths coming to light. That is where I kind of started my questioning of the Bible, when I found Proverbs 8. Well, I guess I should say when I was told about Proverbs 8 from Lilith, and Sophia being in there, and I started to study the Gnostics and Gnostic gnosis, meaning knowledge of spiritual mysteries. Unfortunately, those texts have been really, mistranslated and corrupted. They try to get us into one of two categories. You either are a Yah worshiper or you're a Sophia worshiper. Don't even think about, honoring father and mother as in heaven, so on earth. Like, don't be balanced, anybody, all right? But thankfully now we know better. And as far as what I have learned is that Sophia is actually the one who created Yah, and she created him to be the creator of this world. His purpose was literally to be the creator and to shape her into all of this physical matter that we are experiencing. Omni matter ergo logos. All matter is the mother. All of this physical matter, from the leaves to the rocks to the animals to our own physical vessels, that is Sophia. She is all of this physical matter. So it's actually really cool to know, no matter what kind of suffering and abuse that we have been through, she's been here with us this whole time, and taking that abuse with us. We're never alone. And obviously we have our connection to our guardian angel, which means we're never alone either. But it's really interesting to kind of find out all of these different dynamics and the differences between the will of Yah, our creator, and the will of Sophia. These are two separate entities. They have two separate drives, two separate... Yah was literally created to be the creator, so his mentality is going to be different than Sophia because she wasn't created to be the creator. Like, but that's one thing. Sophia, what drives her ultimately is wisdom. She is seeking wisdom. She is doing this for wisdom. That's why she allows, all of the corruption to happen, why all of this darkness and abuse is ultimately going on. At any point, she could say no because she is all physical matter. She could end this at any moment. But the difference between her and Yah, obviously Yah being the creator, he is, if you were the creator, you're going to want you want what's best for your creation, right? This whole Garden of Eden, a perfect little paradise type thing where they're eating properly, they're not being clowns. Like, one could make the argument that maybe Yah wouldn't want all of the evil and corruption in this world, but he allows it because of Sophia, because she is seeking wisdom. He allows free will. He allows the evil to all take place, ultimately because he's doing this for her. It's her choice. So, yeah, blaming God for all of the world's problems obviously is not a valid thing, because he allows us to have free will, and what we do with our free will is ultimately what is manifesting this world around us. We see all of this darkness and suffering, but what do our daily actions consist of? For the majority of humans, they fund animal suffering on a daily basis, and it's not just one animal, it's multiple animals, different species. They're eating a pig and a little baby chicken for breakfast. Then they're eating a cow corpse with the tit secretion sprinkled on, maybe some pig thrown on top. Like, they're literally paying and funding suffering and enslavement and abuse every day, multiple times a day. So what do you think is going to come from those actions? Should be pretty common sense. I feel like you, Inanna. It sickens me when they pervert the original mysteries, symbols, the principles, etc. I always defend the unadulterated original versions, which have always existed and always will. That is very beautifully said. These Satanists, they're not very original. They take what humans create, they infiltrate and they corrupt, they invert, they pervert, and they demonize what humans have. Hello. The group? Sure. Well, my name is Inanna Snow on Facebook, and I have a dry fasting community group. Hello, cutie.
Do you have Instagram?
I do. It's Queen Inanna Snow. Perfect. Absolutely. It's a beautiful day. There you go. And I'm on Facebook as well and YouTube, so. All right. Look forward to connecting with you on there. Okay. I'm not sure where I was here. Yes, finding the original meanings of these symbols and things that have been demonized is something that I'm really passionate about. Obviously, if you've been around me for any period of time, the word witch and how these ancient women were herbalists and they knew the properties of rocks and the healing principles and the healing properties of nature, right? And how it's been demonized and perverted and inverted over time, right? You wouldn't have the current medical system that you have if you had these wise women who knew how to heal you with herbs and natural things. And right along with that, the big pharma and their demonization of herbs and essential oils and all of that, it's like obvious why they are doing this, because it's taking away customers from them. If you knew how to truly heal yourself, there wouldn't be this big medical industry, and there wouldn't be these religious systems that are so wrong. You know, you go to a person and confess your sins, and then they can turn around and use it as blackmail, and just so much of the religious system that has been set up now, you know, they had to demonize the actual women who dealt with spirits, who knew about the spiritual world to get to where we are now. So I'm really passionate about that as well, and reclaiming the things that have been demonized. Okay. It's very exciting to know where we live. So many questions, but real questions and real truths. No more space nonsense. Absolutely. Inanna warned me about Lilith a while back. I bought a book, then returned it. She was attacked spiritually. Yeah. Yeah, I've been attacked a few times by that, and some recently too, so I don't really want to talk about much about it because then I'm probably just going to get attacked again, but Inanna and Lilith have a very long history, and sometimes we've been friends, sometimes we've been enemies. I personally I don't want to have issues with Lilith. I know that we are not the same on everything. I know that there are some very, very differences about us, but at the end of the day, we both want to save the children, so we need to put our differences aside and come together and make this a better world, like, for the children. I don't care about any of the drama that's happened in the past. I don't care about these personal tiffs with people. I care about making the world a better place, and whoever I need to, make amends with and try to come together and make peace with to get that goal to happen, and that's what ultimately I'm going to do. Do you think we were chosen to have this ability to understand while the masses stay ignorant and asleep and mock us? I feel honored. Well, it's kind of an interesting question because it would be like, chosen by who? Back in the day, I would have said chosen by God, but now I'm kind of seeing that he takes a more hands-off approach, so I really don't. It's a good question. I don't know. Back in the day, I would have said, God is the reason why we're here. He's the one that put me here. I had no choice, and things have definitely changed. But I do feel honored and special to know this truth. I used to feel so depressed about how mundane life felt, right? Anyways, yeah, without a purpose in life, without knowing where we are, what we are, and why we are here, I grew up in a mainstream Christian home, so I always had the knowledge of, we're souls, life's going to continue after this, there's a purpose, we were created, whereas atheists, or as I like to call them, ignorantists, they don't have that. They don't have that knowing of what's going to happen after they die. So it's got to be a very, very depressing existence, and much easier to get humans to do corrupt things. Not saying that religious people are not corrupt, that would be a lie. But when you don't believe that there's a God, when you don't believe that there are consequences, after your life, I think that it would be a lot easier to manipulate that person into doing really evil things. And yeah, don't get me wrong, I know that people are manipulated into doing evil because of religious things too, so I don't want to be taken out of context here or confused. If one offers to me with love and devotion a leaf, a flower, fruit, or water, I will accept it. That's beautiful. I don't really remember where I saw it, but there was, some Essene type teachings that the whole concept of Cain and Abel going and giving their sacrifices, where one had the fruit and the other took an actual an animal. They were saying in this story that the people would go up to a certain spot on the mountain and leave their offering there, right? And if you leave a basket of fruit, it's not gonna leave, right? But if you leave an animal, the animal can run off and go and live in the woods or whatever. So they were talking about this confusion about God accepting the animal sacrifice because it was gone. And in the context of this, more like giving your best animal away and letting them go run free, and a lot different than killing them, obviously. So that's kind of an interesting perspective about it as well. Like I was mentioning earlier, Jeremiah 8:8 talks about the scribes, lying scribes, making the Torah in vain. So definitely we need to have discernment. That should be really obvious. And yeah. It's like, I think this is all notes from Bible sermons and stuff that I have taken over just the past few years. These are all emails that I corresponded with this. I don't know if you can really see this. Kind of hard to read. Anyways, I found out the pre-trib rapture was false, and I met this Plowshares into Swords user on YouTube, and these are my email correspondences with them because we talked a whole lot about different Bible things. The pre-trib rapture being a deception was one of the first things that I woke up to. This whole idea of everybody getting zapped out of here before the tribulation happens, and the false hope that gives people, for the future. If that doesn't happen, where do you stand? Are you going to lose all of your faith when you don't get raptured out of here? Do you not see all around us that this trial, this tribulation is literally happening right now? And that was actually when I decided, even if it was real, I don't want to be a part of it. They say that those that go through the tribulation, those that are beheaded for their testimony, actually get to be, princes and princesses with the Christ during this 1,000-year reign. And I'm like, okay, that sounds good to me. I have this very martyr-like personality, and if I could die to take the world's pain away, then I definitely would. I wanted to fix things around here. Theodore speaks about how we have evolved since those ages, and we should not compare sacrificing animals with what we know today. Our sacrifices can be much more noble, and not sacrificing animals any longer. Absolutely. And I mean, I guess if you're a farmer and you're giving away your best animal, that is a sacrifice, but how much truly of a sacrifice is that for you to go and kill, to shed somebody else's soul, to shed their blood? The real sacrifice is what you do when you give up doing that evil, when you go a day without eating or drinking. That is a sacrifice that you personally made, that you can actually be proud of, because it's from you. It's not that you went out and killed someone else. Anyways, the Essene teachings talk about shedding innocent blood, and how it actually makes you more guilty rather than less guilty. So the Essenes did not believe any of that animal sacrifice stuff, so that's what I resonate with. What's your thoughts on Cain and Abel not having the same father? Back in my Torah days, I would have basically said that Eve slept with Satan and got, the son of Cain, and how these were not the same. At this point, I really don't know, because I question all of these things. I do fully believe in the seed of Satan and the jinn, which are beings of smokeless fire, shape-shifting into human form and impregnating human females. So, yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if that is true, but I'm not going to say either way, because I have these things up in the air for right now. I was really sure about them during my Torah days, and now on the other side, it's like I'm questioning all of these things. But the seed of Satan is definitely real, and they are running our world today. So, yeah. I've been reading a book on Buddhist Zen lately. Yesterday, I didn't kill one fly. It was hard, but I did it. That's funny. Buddhist Zen, huh? Do you have a link to the book? I have not heard about that. I was actually going to start reading this book from a post that Naz had posted earlier. It's called... Well, I don't even know if it's really a book. It's by D. Grossman on killing, and they're just talking in the meme about how wearing masks can help, emotionally detach us from people and stuff. So I wanted to read the whole thing to kind of see what the context was. And I'll leave that in here in the comment section if you are interested in looking into that. Jinn are like us, free will, good and bad. Some monks or Muslims converted them, I've read. Yes, they do have free will. They can do good or evil. Some are pro-human, some are anti-human, some are, are willing to help us get to the golden age. So the whole kill all the Jinn and, you know, all this speciesist nonsense is not something that I promote. Even with the reptilians and Nakash, there are good and bad of all of these species, and ultimately our Creator created them. And, well, to those that are complaining about these other species eating humans, I would ask, first of all, do you eat other animals? Do you eat other species? And secondly, I mean, I guess actually that would be the first and only question that I would ask, because if you eat other animals, then you really have no right to complain about your own species getting eaten by other species. But Nakash and reptilians find humans to be very, very, very tasty, just like humans find cows and pigs and other species to be very tasty. So we need to judge with righteous judgment and see the bigger picture, not just seeing from a very human perspective. Lately, all I seem to see are people and demons attacking you. You teach nothing but purity for the mind, body, and soul. The more you are attacked, the stronger my belief in you is, and the more my eyes are open to all the corruption and deceit at every level. I really appreciate that. I understand full well why they are attacking me, and I know that they're going to keep doing it in the future. I really just hope that real humans can see through it. It can be really hard when you go onto a YouTube page or a Facebook page and you see 10, 20 people saying the same thing, but if you go and you look at those people, if you actually investigate them, you will see that they are inverts. They are all doing this combined attack where they gang up on somebody to try to convince and deceive humans. So that's just their standard operation. I've seen them also swarm on, there's a transvestigation video of, I don't even remember the invert's name. It's some male to female horse. Catherine Hegel. I don't know where the Heidi thing came from, but anyways, Hegel, whatever the heck. This person, American actress who was in The Ugly Truth, Life as We Know It, One for the Money, 27 Dresses, Knocked Up. Anyways, there's a transvestigation video of them, and I think it's by a person called Phony Persephone. Like, that should be a big red flag. If they literally put their name is a phony, like, you should not be listening to anything that they say. But there's a bunch of inverts that are on there that are actually, defending this obvious invert as a female. So you can see it, going both ways. If they want to protect or defend one of their own, they'll gang up and do that together. Or if they want to attack someone who is attacking them, they will all band together and do it. So transvestigate them all, because they don't pass. Remember Zen, awaken the Buddha nature within. Sheldon Moore, Kindle edition. Okay, cool. I wonder if it's available for free online. You can probably find a PDF. Some are neutral, maybe. Yes. Yeah, I would definitely say, I mean, it depends on each individual soul, right? Every Jinn is a soul, and they have their own likes and dislikes and their own personality. So just like every human, we can't really paintbrush every human as liking basketball or something when it's just not how it works. So if you're wearing, hey Jackie, if you're wearing a mask and standing 6 feet apart, you're participating in a satanic ritual. Absolutely. Dehumanizing people, getting us to be afraid of each other. Can you imagine being a child growing up in this state where you have to wear a mask, where you're being told to be afraid of germs and other children, you can't go play with them? Like, it's heartbreaking. I just saw a video somebody posted of a bunch of maybe high schoolers going in the school without masks past the principal, administration, or whatever. And it's like all of these people, all of these children are like, let us in, we want to go to school. Like, you guys are begging to go into a place that they are going to confuse and deceive you, and it's just really sad. If I had a child, they would definitely be homeschooled. It's really sad that so many people, can't homeschool because they have to be at work, they have a job, whatever. But for the people that choose not to, I don't know why. I don't get it, but that's just me. thankfully, so many truthers are waking up and realizing that the uneducational system has done so much damage to us and taking their children out if they can. I definitely, for the future, for the golden age, will be promoting homeschooling, but having options available for people that do want to go to school. The school should be, teaching children truth and other hands-on things like mechanics, like wood shop, like learning how to cook, learning how to sew, doing practical things, and also, learning how to shoot guns and all that kind of fun stuff. I want to talk about some of the stuff for the golden age in the future. I started to make like a little chart here and breaking it down into different categories like education and government and all these kinds of things to actually have a breakdown of what the golden age looks like, and I definitely want to go through that with you in the future. If you have any questions about the golden age, please reach out to me and let me know, because I'd love to answer them and talk about that. More species are extinct because of humans than any other species. Yes, they try to make us the worst versions of ourselves possible, and then they can turn to the spiritual world and see, look at all of these degenerate clowns who are literally killing the earth, killing every other species. Like, we have an obligation to go in and depopulate them. We have an obligation to keep them under control, to make sure that they don't do too much damage. And they use this as an excuse to depopulate us and have the spiritual world, or many of them, not necessarily all across the board, but they convince many to cheer on their depopulating of us because of this. I pray for you every day, Inanna. I thank you. I really appreciate that. And everyone I meet gets added to my list. That is really a really awesome thing, Aaron. I really appreciate that. Larry says prayers for protection for you. Thank you, Larry. HTF, yes, horse to female. That's funny. Alright, let's see what else is going on here in the live chat. Aaron says, I have yet to worn a mask. Me either. I was surprised to find out, like most of you already know, I live in Northern California, and I've already told you guys this before, but I went up to Oregon, and I tried to go to the Walmart in Oregon, and they were actually really bad mask Nazis, whereas here in Northern California, they aren't. Where I'm living is really quite conservative area. I mean, there are some liberals, but the area that I'm in is more of like the state of Jefferson, gun-toting, cow-killing crap, which some of that needs changed, obviously, but the point remains that it's a more conservative area, and up in southern Oregon, they have a lot of liberal LGBTQ PBR promotion. You'll go to, I think it was like Johnny B's, they had this dude in drag like dancing around, and it was mortifying, and the whole crowd was literally cheering them on, and they were singing something. The noise that was coming out of their mouth, I can't remember exactly what it was, but it was some really perverted song. I don't even want to think about it because I don't want to remember. It was the first time I ever even heard of it before, but it was like a degenerate, perverted song being sung by a dude in a dress dancing around on stage, and the whole crowd was cheering. It made me want to cry. Like, I don't get it. I could never support that if that was my child. I would be so embarrassed. That's just the, I can't even put into words how ashamed that I would be if that was my child. So anyways, let's move on. All of my grandchildren are being homeschooled. That is awesome. That is really exciting. Indoctrination camp equals school. Absolutely. I like to call it the uneducational system. The thing that a lot of people don't know is that someone said hi to Fabrice. I didn't even see a message from Fabrice. So Fabrice is here. Hi. All right. Anyways, what was I going to say? Uneducational. Oh, what a lot of people don't know is that pedophiles, people that corrupt children, LGBTQ, PBR, these kinds of entities flock to professions where they can be around children, where they can be grooming children. So it's really important that you know who in the world is around your children, because you might have a pedophile grooming them. Like, this is a really serious matter that people aren't taking seriously enough. I can't even imagine. All right. You are a great teacher and will be a great mother. Thank you, Naz. Aaron says we need just to find her a good guy after we... what does that say? After we all need to interview him. All right. Well, I'm not going to be looking for a guy anytime soon, but in the future, a lot of people will be coming to Mount Shasta during the Golden Age to try to sweep me off my feet. But we're going to kick that can down the road. Right now is a time for battle, and romantic interests just get in the way of that. They're a distraction. That's not anything negative about being in a relationship. Humans are made for relationships. Unfortunately, during this time of awakening, so many relationships, even marriages, have been destroyed through this awakening process. I can't say any names of anybody that I know that has stayed together through the awakening process myself. I myself got married to a truther and then got divorced, because the truth eventually tore us more apart. Finding someone right now at this point in time is really not my focus. I still don't know all of the truth. I'm still trying to figure out all of the answers to the questions that I have. I'm still trying to find out who and what I am at a core level. I mean, obviously I know to an extent of who and what I am. This awakening process has really pushed me down that, but even through just dry fasting, it's I'm noticing so many changes in myself, wanting to be more outside and be grounding, sleeping outside, as opposed to before where I'm I don't want to be outside. Just not just that, but my cravings being changed from before being more junk food oriented, but now when I'm doing dry fasting, it's I'm craving fresh fruit. I want to be a better version of myself, the best version of myself possible, so I need to keep pushing myself and focusing on myself to get me there, and then eventually paths are always aligning, and I do believe that the right guy is out there, and also trying to work on himself and figure out all of these answers as well. So let's see what's going on in the comments section. Walmart is okay with me, but Canadian Tire here, I almost sued them. Oh wow. A tire place being mask Nazis, that's crazy. Alright. I've tried to reach out from someone from the LGBTQ movement. I can never find anyone who will speak on their behalf. That is really interesting. I don't know anybody that I could point you in the direction of. There are some people around here in Mount Shasta, but I'm not really sure that they would be interested in talking. Larry says they were attacked by a pedo at age 7. Wow. I'm really sorry to hear that, Larry. Many years to get over the 5 years of torture. Wow. Hopefully something was done to the pedo. It's a really shameful thing that the current system, I mean, we all know that these child abusers are in high positions, and the judges, you get a pedophile in here and you slap them on the wrist and you send them back out to repeat, and then you got someone over here who got caught with a pound of weed and you're going to send them to jail. It's absolutely out of proportion, unbalanced, criminals giving justice, which is not even justice, criminals giving injustice system. Anyways, very irritating. And also, Gutai, I saw earlier that you said I was glowing. Thank you. It would have to be a brother that glows like you do. Absolutely. I want this lifestyle for my future children as well. I ideally would be raw vegan when I am going through pregnancy, and then I want to do extended breastfeeding. I want my child to, be mainly raw vegan, and be exposed to his parents fasting and taking advantage of the benefits of all of this knowledge that we have, that we are learning now, to be the best versions of ourselves possible and to extend our lives. Makes me wonder if LGBTQ is legit. I'm sure some are, but most are mouthpieces and paid like Antifa. At least I feel this way. Yes. Obviously there are, people at the bottom that are part of it, and so much of it is coming from the top. These inverted, degenerate, broken clowns that we see in Hollywood that are bisexual, they are into children. It's like they are trying to program us with all of their issues, and getting us to be like them, corrupt, deceived, degenerates like them. So it's definitely interesting to see, and like I was saying earlier, that whole agenda has had to come for humanity over time, a little bit at a time. Can't just turn on the waterworks right at the beginning with these people that just came out of the Garden of Eden that are innocent. They're going to be like, no, why are you trying to corrupt us? So anyways, legal system protects them here too. Absolutely. My friends are wolf hunters. I help them from time to time with information. That's really cool. Aaron, if you have any more information about the wolf hunters and how other people can help, please leave it in the comments. I've had a really awesome time with you. I still don't know why YouTube isn't working, but I will be back with you live on Wednesday at 3:33 p.m. PST, so make sure that you are here for that. I've had an awesome time talking with you guys in the chat, and I plan on doing more Sunday, more like religious topic discussions. So if you have anything that you want me to talk about, please let me know, and I will be back here on Wednesday. In the meantime, tomorrow at 8 I almost said PM again, 8 a.m. PST, we'll be starting a dry fast. So if you are going to be joining, please let me know so that I can encourage you and support you through that. I'm banned from posting in groups for 30 days, so you'll have to catch me on my personal page. And hey, Julie, how's it going? And yeah, so if you're going to be dry fasting with us tomorrow, please let me know, and so I can encourage and support you. Other than that, I look forward to connecting with you on Wednesday. Please let me know if you have any topics that you want me to discuss, and I hope that you have a wonderful week. May God and the Goddess bless you.